Vessel of Hatred is just around the corner, less than 1 week. And in this video we will go through the main features that come with it and also through the main changes that come to the base game as well. So regardless if you bought it or not, if you plan to buy it or not, changes are coming. Brace yourself. As I said, I will cover the main highlights, the main systems that are suffering a change or are brand new, and try not to focus on the numbers. Focus on the systems themselves, because the numbers are subject to change. They can change any day, but the system will remain basically forever. And, spoiler alert, if you play Diablo 3, a lot of bells will be rung during this video. Let's go. First big change, difficulties. The difficulties, as you know them by now, Adventure, Veteran, Nightmare, Torment, are gone. It's completely redone. So now at the start of the game we will have 4 difficulties, 2 of them unlock straight away. It will be normal, hard, expert and penetrator. And they will be unlocked based on your progression in the game or throughout your levels. So basically, as you can see, normal and hard will be unlocked by default. Then once you're done the Diablo 4 prologue part of the game, expert will be available, and once you hit level 50, which, as I mentioned, is not the max level now, you will get access to penetrator. So penetrator will be basically for the segment from 50 to 60. And 60 is the new max level, is not 100 anymore. It's again similar to Diablo 3 now. So you hit max level 60 and then Paragon will start kicking, and Paragon will be up to level 300. We'll come back to this a little bit later. And once you hit 60 and you can get to the end game, we will have another 4 difficulties, which are Torment ones. And very similar to Diablo 3, where we have Torment 1 to 16 at the moment. We started also like with several torments. There is a possibility that in the future they will add new torments, but for now we have Torment 1 to 4. These are for the end game, and Torment 1 basically unlocks all the best gear in the game and all the goodies they can drop. Torment 2, 3 and 4 drop the same thing, just at better rates of course, and makes the game more difficult, so you get more challenge. But again, to emphasize, to get the best possible loot in the game, everything is unlocked on Torment 1. There is no need or necessity to play Torment 4. Of course, Torment 4 will help you with the drop rates. You'll get them more frequent. That's it. And Torments will be unlocked based on your pit runs and pit performance. So this is a little bit like reversed mechanic as in Diablo 3. So in Diablo 3, when you do normal Nephilim rifts, in Torment up to 16, you unlock access to the greater rifts, which is analog of a pit now. Here is different. You do the pit first to unlock the difficulties. So basically, for now, again, don't focus on the numbers. This can change. But what happens at level 60, you unlock the pit, you go through the pit, and once you beat tier 20, you unlock Torment 1. Then the deeper you go, the higher torments you can unlock. And another note here, maximum pit level is now 100, and 100 of now would correspond more or less to the pit level 200 from the past. And torments will have penalties. It will be a little bit similar to Diablo 2, so we will get negative armor and negative all resists. Next change is in itemization. Though the big itemization change was in previous season with a previous patch, there are still some changes incoming in Vessel of Hatred. So sacred items, gone. No more sacred items will drop. They are discontinued from the game. And also the normal items and ancestral items suffered some changes as well. So overall, across the board in the game, there will be a big stat squish. So they are trying to reduce the numbers. Basically, it's like a deflation in numbers, so that we don't do billions of damage. We can reach only millions now, I think. And that will affect everything, including gear stats, including caps. So now, for example, the armor cap is now 9,025 or whatever it was, 23 in the past. It will be only 1,000. Everything goes smaller in numbers, and the proportions more or less will try to be preserved. And that includes item levels as well. So normal items now, legendaries stuff, will have a max level of 750, down from 925. And of course, as you can see here, the stats will be corresponding as well. So that will be our base gear. Legendary will stop dropping once we reach level 60, and will always be item power 750. And these items can be masterworked only 4 times, so only one cycle. We can't go to 12, and we can't get 25% increase to one of the stats. It's only one, so it'll be slower progression now throughout the gear and gearing up. And that said, when we go to Ancestrals, Ancestrals now will be a rarity in the game. It will not rain anymore with them, hopefully. And getting an Ancestral will get you that feel good vibe. So whenever you'll see an Ancestral, you should be excited now. They will be quite rare, but they will be also powerful. So it's more or less kind of similar of, how do you call them? Ancient legendaries from Diablo 3. So now Ancestrals, first of all, they have item power 800. So they are 50 item power above the normal legendaries. And this is huge, especially for weapons, of course, because the base damage will go way higher. Also, Ancestrals are guaranteed now to roll at least one Greater Affix. And that said, Greater Affixes can now be only and only on Ancestrals. They can't roll on normal legendaries. And as mentioned before, they start dropping in Torment 1. Ancestrals can be masterworked up to level 12, as it was in the past with any legendary in Diablo 4. And moving forward, there will be Paragon updates. Paragon updates are quite significant as well. So first of all, let's talk about glyphs. Glyphs will have now a max level of 100 instead of 21, and they will be more powerful now. They will, I think they grew twice in size, so in the range that they cover the nodes. And also like a rare gift at level 45, again, don't focus on the number, but at certain level they can become legendary, which will increase their radius by 1, and will add an additional affix to it. And there is a different way to level glyphs now. Glyphs will no longer be leveled in Nightmare Dungeons. We will level them in the pit, and it's extremely similar to the legendary gems leveling in Diablo 3. In Diablo 3, as you remember, you have a legendary gem. You run through a Greater Rift, and based on the level of a Greater Rift, based on the difference of the level of a Greater Rift and the level of a gem, you will get 3 attempts in the end, or 4 attempts if you didn't die, with a certain percentage success chance to upgrade your gem by 1 level. So max you can get +4, and then you had Empowered Rifts where you can get an additional attempt, so it will be +5. Here we have +4. We do have the reward of +1 attempt for not dying in the pit. Extremely similar, basically it's the same system, just readjusted to Diablo 4. And yeah, no more Nightmare Dungeons for glyph leveling. We will have new board, so each class gets one new Paragon board with, of course, one new legendary node on it. And now there is a limit of maximum 5 boards of Paragon, including the starting board. So now what's happening is, instead of trying to get as many boards when you construct a Paragon, now you will focus on to get the main 5, so the starter and +4, so you'll choose carefully, and then you will try to maximize those boards. Interesting to see how that pans out. Moving forward, Nightmare Dungeons. As I mentioned, there is no need now to run Nightmare Dungeons to level your glyphs. Glyphs are leveled in Pit, but you will still need to do them in order to get your masterwork material. So basically they swapped it, which makes more sense because for leveling glyphs you want to go as fast as possible through the content, so to get to the leveling point. And in Nightmare Dungeons that was not always the case, because in some of them you will have these side quests of freeing the prisoners, of bringing stones to the pedestals and so on. So it didn't feel right from that point of view. Now it feels much better because we want to upgrade our glyphs as fast as possible. So you'll go through the pit as fast as possible. That's the challenge of a pit. We don't get loot there, we don't get quests, nothing. You go you kill as fast as possible everyone, get to the boss, kill the boss, get your glyph updates as legendary gems in D3. Makes total sense. And now in Nightmare Dungeons, we are getting the masterwork materials. And it's not at the end of a dungeon. So they can drop whenever you are in the Nightmare Dungeon. They can drop from everywhere. They can drop from opening a chest. They can drop from destroying a barrel. They can drop from killing regular mobs, killing elites, and of course from killing the boss at the end. So that basically removes the penalty of having to do these side quests or quests in the Nightmare Dungeon. So now you can go through the whole dungeon. You don't need to rush it till the end, because everywhere you go, you will get basically rewarded. And a small remark here, there are no more 3 types of masterwork materials. It's only 1 type, so they reduced that as well, which is great. Less confusion. Next change is about the skills. So each class will get now 1 new brand skill and 5 new passives. We will not go through all of them, because it will make the video too long, and they're subject to change, and also you can see them in the patch notes. But we will go quickly through the showcasing the new skills. So barbarians are getting the weapon throw, as you can see here. Pretty cool. It's a skill that we had in Diablo 2, as you can remember, and very nice to see it back. Then druids are getting a DJ skill, so now, as you can see, they can invoke the mobs to dance a bit at their choice, and they dance them to death, basically. As you can see here, they start and then tints until they die. The Necromancer new skill is very similar to like a Curse Nova, so it's basically an area around him where he slows the enemies and suck them off. Very similar to what Shang Tsung was doing in Mortal Kombat. Then rogues. Rogues are getting arguably the most cool new skill. So that will be a second spin to win character in the game. Besides barbarians, it's Dance of Knives, I think it's called. And it's extremely cool and efficient. It was very strong on PTR. I think it will get nerfed a little bit, get adjusted. But again, spin to win is always cool. And sorcerers will get the familiar. Similar to Diablo 3, you can have up to 3 types of familiar. I think it's based on the element type you cast. And how strong it will be, it's still to be seen. Back to our slides, that were the changes that are coming to the game, regardless if you have or do not have the expansion. Now, next ones are expansion specific. So what are we getting by buying Vessel of Hatred? First of all, of course, we are getting the new region. It's Nahantu and Nahantu jungles, and basically it's the Act 3 area from Diablo 2, Kurasti, if you remember. Those jungles we are getting now. It will have also all the goodies in it, like as you can see, Stronghold side quests, new Legion events, and Nahantu monster families, so new monster types. Also, it will have a spot for a world boss as well. And if you look here, during PTR, this region was closed, was in the game, but was restricted the access to it. But because of lag and stuff, there were frames where you could quote it before the fog of war will get over it. So you can see the region itself is to the north, sorry, to the south from the existing map. So base game ended here, and you can see it connects here to the new region. We see the old boss. Here somewhere it will be the Dark Citadel, and somewhere else it will be Kurast Undercity, the new activities that we will cover a little bit later. Pretty cool, pretty greenish, of course, is jungle, and pretty exciting as well. And of course, with the expansion, the big, huge selling point is the new class. So we are getting the Spiritborn, completely new class in Diablo universe. It's a class type that we didn't have before in any of the Diablo games. So it's safe to say season 6, almost everyone will play Spiritborn, new shiny toy on the market. Okay, as I mentioned, we are getting 2 new endgame activities. It will be Dark Citadel and Kurast Undercity. Not too many details on those yet. We have today a developer stream where we pre-launch one, where we will for sure get more details. But in short, Dark Citadel is the new type of activity. So it's the first and only so far activity that will require co-op playing. So basically it's a raid if we refer it to MMO terms, but in a shrinked version, because you can do it with 2 players, and usually raids requires a full team. But here you will need at least 2 players to be able to complete the Dark Citadel. You can't do it solo. This is a little bit controversial maybe. I'm on the fence about it. I'm more of a solo player, so like as the research showed, 85% of player base, but we'll see how it pans out. We can't reject novelties. I'm very happy that Blizzard is willing to take risks and try new things. Let's see how it pans out. If community will be unhappy with this, I'm sure they will change it in the future for the better. Also, Kurast Undercity, it was mentioned, but we had no details about it. In the screenshots we had, it was more like with a gold theme, so it's maybe to get materials or gold, I don't know. We will find out later. And as we mentioned, co-op activity and raids, finally we are getting some social improvements, and we are getting a party finder. And this I think will be available to the base game as well, so not expansion only. We shall see, but yeah, very similar to communities and party finders in D3. It's much better from what it looks. So as you can see, we can filter by activity type. Also, you can put tags if you want a quick one, farming if you want voice chat. Yeah, you can join the existing one. You can list your own one. Looks pretty cool. We'll see it in action soon. And if it's close to what we had in D3, it will be very nice, because until now it was a pain to go to Discord or other places to try to form these parties. And then we are getting mercenaries. Mercenaries are back, and they have their own flavor now in comparisons with D2 mercenaries and with D3 followers. Let's go quickly through them. So here we have an overview for mercenaries, and we can see it will be 4 types. We will have a shield bearer. We will have Berserker Chrome, which is basically a female barbarian. And then we'll have a Cursed Child. This one is quite interesting because it's like a half demon, half human creature. And we will have an archer, of course, so a ranged one. Mercenaries will have their own skill trees, so it's quite complex, I would say. And also, there will be 2 ways of interacting with them. You can hire them, so you have them in solo play, by your side, like the business as usual. But also, you have mercenary reinforcements, and reinforcement is a mechanic where you call the mercenary in a certain situation. So you can set up triggers, and when that trigger happens, the mercenary will appear, will perform a certain skill, and will disappear back. So it's quite cool, and this can happen in group play as well when you don't have your mercenaries by your side. And also, as I understood, you can have one mercenary hired and another mercenary doing the reinforcement thing. And here they brought the example of trigger being crowd control. So whenever you are getting crowd control, you have a mercenary appearing and performing the skill that you have set. Pretty cool, if you ask me. And next thing we are getting is quite a huge one. It's rune words. Rune words are back. And before you are getting excited, if you are a Diablo 2 player, they're quite different from Diablo 2. Very different, I would say. If we look here on Diablo fans, we can see rune words will always be formed from only 2 runes. So we will not have this word like from 3 runes, 4, 5. It's always 2. And it's the mechanic is quite basic and simple. It's the same as they presented just before the game launch. If you remember, they had it in a presentation when they scrapped them for the launch. They are back now. And it's exactly in the same shape and form. So it's always 2 runes, and it will be a trigger rune and an effect rune. They called them rune of rituals and the rune of invocation. But basically it's a trigger and effect. And it's exactly what it says. You comply to the condition from the first rune. Whenever you achieve that, whenever you fulfill that condition, the effect from the second rune will trigger. For example, here, if we put back Jack rune word, when we travel 5 meters, our next evade will be replaced with a sorcerer teleport. And that said, as you can see, the big thing here also is that we can get other classes skills, which is very similar to what we had in Diablo 2. So that's a huge change. We shall see what skills will be there in time. On PTR we had the Barbarian Warcry, we had the Petrify from Druid, by far the most popular choice. But I think that will be changed because that was used in every single build and it felt too overpowered. So we should see what will be the final skills and also what skills they will add in time, because this will evolve over time in the game. So yeah, also there are restrictions. You can have only 2 words at any time in your build, and I think you can use each rune only once. And also a change here, since it's always in 2 sockets, they are adding an additional socket into your helm. So helms can now have 2 sockets, and you can do a rune word in a helm. Runes can be crafted as well, so similar to Diablo 2 on Kanai's cube, not Kanai's, it was called, what was it called? The cube from D2, Roderick cube, I guess. Kanai's in D3. But it's very similar. In D3 as well, you were doing this with gems. 3 of the same type will get you an upgrade on the next one, and so on. You can see here an example. And they stack, big props, and also we will have a separate stash tab for them. Again, big win. And also runes can be used, as you can see here, to craft mythic items, which is a big thing. Numbers, again, don't pay attention to them, that can change, but what it was on PTR, it was 1 spark, and then 10 runes of a specific name, 10 runes of another specific name. So it was legendary runes, rare runes, and magic runes, all 3 types, 10 of each, plus only 1 spark will get you a mythic unique. Which is interesting, I would say, because runes can be traded. So once you have a spark, that might be a little bit like maybe pay to win, or I don't know, because once they can be traded, it can be an opening to real money markets. So we shall see how that pans out. But another thing here, if we abstract from that stuff, is that it will, as long as you have tons of runes, it will allow you to recycle your mythic unique in the one that you need. Because whenever you get Whenever you're getting not the one you need, you can salvage it instantly, you get your spark back, then you use another 30 runes and get another one, and so on and so on. Those were the main highlights. Let's do a quick recap now. Remember the stat squish, which is not mentioned here. Everything will go down in numbers. Also the strength parameters, main stat, everything will go down, and the effect of those will go down. So smaller number, easier to read and easier to percept. No more billions or infinite damage as we had on PTR. And besides that, of course, for the base game without the expansion, we are getting the new level up to 60, 10 more skill points, new difficulty system, new Paragon max level 300. And here I would like to say a caveat. Paragon, the further you go into it, it keeps getting exponentially harder to get the next level. So this gives you very much the feeling of leveling in D2, from D2, because it will be very hard to reach that 300 Paragon level. But at the same time, it's not necessary to reach it. The advantage from having 300 in comparison with having only 250 will not be huge. It will just get you this feeling of continuous progression, and also like this carrot on the stick, basically. So you'll always have something to level towards. And it's quite cool. It's the same as in D2. Like once you're level 91, 92, you are good and you don't really need to be 99. But if you grind enough, of course, you will eventually get to 99. Same thing here, and I hope they keep it. Because in D3, as you remember, at some point, the Paragon requirements for the next level were a flat value. So they were exponential until, I don't remember, 800 or 1000 something. And then each next level will require the same amount of XP. Here, it's not the same. It's always exponential. So next level will always need exponentially more XP, which gets huge towards 300, but it's fine because basically you will get this, as I mentioned, the feeling of continuous progression. Every day will not feel that you are staying in place, you're always progressing. Your bar will move, the XP bar. Paragon system changes, as I mentioned, glyphs and how you level them and stuff. Item quality rework, no more ancestral, no more, no more sacred, of course. Ancestral becoming very rare and very valuable. 2 new character slots we're getting, new class skills, 1 per class, and then we're getting 5 new passives per each class. New party finder feature. And of course, remember, new seasonal content. There will be a season as well, seasonal theme on top of everything. And new season rewards, of course. Journey, Battle Pass, Reputation Board. Then in the expansion itself, we are getting the Nahantu region, we are getting the jungles, the new map. We are getting new monster types, we are getting the Spiritborn class, Vessel of Hatred campaign. So we will fight, spoiler alert, Mephisto in the end. We are getting new Nahantu region renown, so there will be a new renown to be farmed, and respectively new skill points and Paragon points probably from it. Rune wards, of course, Dark Citadel, Mercenaries, Kura Standard City, and trading for Vessel of Hatred specific resources, including runes. And before you leave a video, I would like to thank you very much that you stayed until this point. And since we have this point here, Nahantu region renown, I would encourage you to revisit my renown guide, where I cover some interesting stuff and useful tips how to do it efficient and fast. That one is for the base renown, but I'm sure it will be applicable for the Nahantu renown as well. Thank you very much for watching, and see you all in the next video. Cheers.